Why does it feel like the more we desperately search for life's meaning, the less sense it seems to make? Imagine a Zen master, 800 years ago, posing a question. What is the sound of one hand clapping? You are not meant to answer it. You are meant to transcend the very question itself. And within that impossible space lies profound wisdom. Koans, these enigmatic Zen puzzles, have no logical answer. They are meticulously crafted traps, designed explicitly to shatter your rational mind. Consider this. If you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. How could this possibly be a teaching from Buddhism? Your brain, a tireless pattern seeker, desperately scrambles for logic, for sense, for a coherent narrative. The koan systematically demolishes every single one of those desperate attempts. Zen monks dedicate years, sometimes entire lifetimes, to meditating on a single, impossible question. They don't seek an answer. They simply live within the question. And then when the logical mind finally collapses from sheer exhaustion, when thought itself gives up the ghost, something entirely beyond intellectual understanding emerges. This is Satori. This isn't about philosophy. It's a ruthless demolition of the very instrument you use to philosophize, to categorize, to understand. The question itself doesn't exist to be answered. It exists to dismantle the questioner piece by piece. Only then, from the rubble, can something profoundly new and unexpected be rebuilt. At its core, a koan is a paradoxical statement or story originating from Zen Buddhist tradition. These aren't intellectual puzzles intended for clever, quick-witted solutions. They are something far more profound. Koans challenge and deliberately defy the confines of conventional, rational thought processes. They are not riddles with a definitive, correct answer to be found in a book or logic problem. Instead, koans function as powerful spiritual tools designed to break down conceptual thinking. Their purpose is to force the mind beyond its usual analytical patterns and dualistic frameworks. The idea is to bypass the intellect and directly point towards an ineffable truth or experience. They push practitioners to abandon fixed ideas, categories, and verbal descriptions of reality. Through this deliberate frustration of logic, one is meant to experience a deeper, non-conceptual understanding. Essentially, a koan is an invitation to step outside the box, then realize there was no box at all. The practice of koans originated in China, evolving within the Ch'an, Zen Buddhist tradition. Their development flourished between the 8th and 13th centuries, spreading to Japan as Zen took root. Ancient Zen masters ingeniously devised these paradoxical dialogues and stories. They served as critical teaching methods, tools to both test and awaken their diligent disciples. The core objective was to facilitate a sudden, transformative enlightenment, known as Satori. This sudden insight was achieved by deliberately shattering habitual mental and conceptual patterns. Masters would present a koan, observing how students grappled with the inherent contradictions. The koan wasn't about finding an answer, but about the struggle and ultimate letting go of the need for one. Historically, they were a direct challenge to the scholasticism that emphasized scripture over direct experience. They forced students away from intellectual understanding towards a direct, intuitive grasp of reality. Perhaps the most iconic koan, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" hails from the Rinzai Zen master Hakuin Akaku. Hakuin used it as a fundamental starting point for his students, a gateway to mind-breaking inquiry. Why is this question inherently impossible to answer, using conventional logic or sensory experience? A clap, by definition, requires two hands meeting. One hand alone makes no such sound. The koan forces you to confront this sensory and logical impossibility head-on. What happens when you earnestly try to hear the sound of a solitary hand? Nothing, of course. This immediate jarring frustration is not a failure. It's an essential part of the transformative process. The mind struggles, grasping for a non-existent solution, then finally exhausts its analytical resources. It pushes you beyond auditory perception and conceptualization into a space of pure, unmediated awareness. The sound of one hand isn't a noise. It's the experience of consciousness itself before labels. The fundamental premise of koans is that our rational thought processes are often the problem, not the solution. Our minds are excellent at categorizing, analyzing, and building conceptual frameworks. But these very tools create a veil, obscuring direct experience and inherent reality. Koans are specifically designed to force you to abandon analysis, concepts, and linguistic frameworks. They are meant to bypass the intellectualizing mind entirely, creating a direct, non-conceptual experience. You cannot explain the inexplicable with words, theories, or clever deductions. Instead, a koan makes you experience the inexplicable directly, without intellectual mediation. The rational mind, accustomed to finding solutions, finds itself in an unsolvable paradox. This mental deadlock creates a fertile ground for a breakthrough, a leap beyond ordinary thought. It's about realizing the limitations of logic, paving the way for intuitive understanding. This is perhaps one of the most shocking and profoundly misunderstood koans attributed to Linji Yixuan. On the surface, it seems blasphemous, contradicting every notion of reverence for the sacred, but its true meaning cuts straight to the heart of Zen. Detach from all attachments, even to spiritual concepts. Do not cling to any external authority, image, or idea of enlightenment, even if it is the Buddha himself. Your attachment to any concept, no matter how sacred, becomes an obstacle to true realization. The koan implores you to transcend all fixed ideas, even the idea of enlightenment, spiritual master, or holy truth. The Buddha here represents any external authority, any clinging to a dogma or a fixed path. The ultimate obstacle is often the very path you believe you are following, the goal you are chasing. True liberation means being free even from the concept of liberation, independent of all forms. It's a ruthless injunction to demolish all idols, both external and internal, to find the authentic self. For Zen monks, engaging with koans is a rigorous, deeply personal, and often frustrating practice. It typically occurs within the framework of sanzen, private interviews with a Zen master. During sanzen, the disciple presents their answer, or understanding of the assigned koan. This answer is rarely verbal. It's an expression of their direct, non-conceptual experience. The master, highly attuned, immediately discerns if the student has genuinely transcended the koan. More often than not, the student's initial attempts are rejected with a dismissive mu or a stern look. This rejection forces the student back to intensive meditation, to delve deeper into the impossibility. The process can be incredibly long and arduous, spanning months, years, or even decades of practice. It requires immense patience, persistence, and a willingness to confront deep-seated mental habits. The master's role is not to give answers, but to expertly guide the student towards their own breakthrough. When approaching a koan, the natural inclination is to try and solve it intellectually like a riddle. But koans are not designed to be solved. They are meant to be dissolved existentially. Solving implies finding a logical, conceptual answer that fits within our existing mental frameworks. Dissolving, however, means letting go of the need for an answer, allowing the question to permeate your entire being. It's about exhausting the rational mind until it simply gives up, collapsing under the weight of the paradox. When you stop striving for a solution and simply become the question, a fundamental shift occurs. The koan stops being an external problem and transforms into a direct, internal experience. This radical shift is a move from intellectual grasping to intuitive understanding, from thought to being. You don't arrive at an answer. You arrive at a state where the question itself ceases to hold power. It's a transcendence of the dualism inherent in questioner and question, becoming one with the inquiry. Koans often serve specific purposes, challenging different aspects of our conceptual understanding. What was your face before your parents were born? This koan points directly to our original nature. It forces contemplation beyond personal identity and lineage, seeking an essence prior to conditioning. Another famous koan is, does a dog have Buddha nature? The master's response is often, mu, no. Mu shatters preconceived notions about inherent Buddha nature, pointing to emptiness beyond form. 3 pounds of flax is a seemingly mundane koan, often offered when asked about ultimate truth. It highlights that the sacred isn't separate from the ordinary. Enlightenment can be found in everyday life. These examples demonstrate that koans aren't random. They're strategically crafted to dismantle specific mental blocks. They pry open the mind, showing that ultimate reality is not found in lofty concepts but in direct experience. Each koan is a unique key, designed to unlock a different aspect of non-dualistic awareness. Interestingly, some modern scientific paradoxes echo the mind-bending nature of Zen Kōans. Take quantum physics, particles behaving as both waves and particles simultaneously. This defies our classical Newtonian logic where something must be one or the other. Schrödinger's cat, a cat in a box, simultaneously dead and alive until observed. This thought experiment highlights how observation influences reality, breaking common sense. These scientific paradoxes, much like koans, shatter our intuitive understanding of the world. They demonstrate the limitations of classical logic when applied to deeper layers of reality. Just as koans force a new mode of perception, quantum mechanics demands a new way of thinking. Both realms push us beyond binary, either-or thinking into a space of inherent interconnectedness and mystery. They reveal that reality itself is far more subtle and paradoxical than our rational minds can fully grasp. You don't need to become a Zen monk to benefit from the wisdom of koans in your everyday life. When faced with intractable problems or mental loops, sometimes the best solution is to stop seeking one. Use impossible questions to disrupt rigid thought patterns that lead to anxiety or stagnation. For example, if you're stuck on a creative block, ask yourself, what is the color of silence? This isn't about answering, but about forcing your mind to disengage from its usual analytical grind. When overthinking a decision, instead of listing pros and cons, reflect on, where does my mind begin and end? The frustration of these impossible inquiries can liberate your mind from its self-imposed prisons. It's a way to cultivate a state of don't-know mind, open to possibilities beyond logic. Embrace the not knowing, the paradox, the absurdity, and watch how new perspectives emerge. Koans teach us that sometimes, the most profound answers arise when we stop asking questions altogether. And so, we've journeyed through the perplexing, mind-shattering world of Zen Kōans. From ancient monasteries to the frontiers of quantum physics, these aren't just obscure historical curiosities. They are living, breathing challenges designed to break down our conceptual prisons and reveal a deeper reality. They remind us that true understanding often lies beyond the reach of logic, beyond the confines of words, in the direct, unmediated experience of being. The wisdom of a koan isn't found in a clever answer, but in the profound transformation that occurs when the question simply dissolves. It's a call to embrace the paradox, to dance with the illogical, and to find liberation in the fertile ground of not knowing. Thank you for joining us on this mind-bending exploration. We truly appreciate you watching. What was the most mind-blowing koan or idea from this video for you? Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. If this journey into paradox expanded your mind, please hit that like button to support the channel. Don't forget to subscribe for more thought-provoking content that challenges your perception of reality. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and perhaps keep listening for the sound of one hand clapping.